So with the Chop Shop DLC in GTA Online, Rockstar added a really cool brand new feature for us car guys to have fun with, the drift tuning upgrade. While I've already made quite a lot of content centered around this new drift tuning upgrade, today I'm going to get a bit more technical and not only explain exactly how it works, but also show you guys some other upgrades that you should be equipping on your car before you equip the new drift tuning upgrade, so let's get into it. First off, a really quick explanation of what this new drift tuning is. This is basically a complete overhaul of your car's physics. The first major thing is that it converts your car to all-wheel drive if it wasn't already. However, it's not the normal all-wheel drive system you're probably expecting. It only sends between 10 to 20% of that power to the front wheels, and it actually is conditional in that it only engages if you're moving fast enough. I believe the all-wheel drive system kicks on based on engine RPM, but it could also be dependent on vehicle speed. I'm not 100% sure about that. Regardless, this slight bit of power going to the front wheels gives your car way more forward bite and allows you to hold a lot more angle during a drift and just generally prevents spinouts. In addition to the all-wheel drive swap, the drift tuning upgrade also provides your car with a ton more steering lock to help you hold even more angle during drifts. It also softens up the suspension to provide the car with a bit more rear grip and even more forward bite, and it also gives a pretty substantial boost to engine power to make drifting even easier. Now on the logistical side of things, this upgrade is exclusively available to only 8 cars: the new Fathom FR36, the Annis Remus, Annis ZR350, Annis Euros, Karen Fudo GTX, Dinka Jester RR, Declasse Drift Tampa, and the Declasse Drift Yosemite. Now, in order to equip this upgrade, you must take one of those 8 cars to the mod shop within the LS Car Meet, and there you will have the option to apply it for $200,000. This new upgrade is only available for those 8 cars, and again, you can only equip it within the LS Car Meet mod shop. If you're at all confused about that, you need to go to the LS Car Meet beforehand and get a membership for $50,000, and after that, you'll be able to access everything within there, including the mod shop where you can equip this upgrade. Now, if you ever want to remove the drift tuning upgrade, it will cost you $50,000, and then you're gonna have to spend another $200,000 if you ever want to put it back on again. So this upgrade can very easily become a huge waste of money. So before you immediately go and equip this upgrade and try to start drifting, hear me out for the next few minutes. I promise I've got some interesting testing results to show you that will probably make you rethink a few things. So let's go through all of the upgrades I think you should take a look at before you spend lots of money equipping the drift tuning upgrade, and I'm gonna do this in order so it's easy to understand. The first upgrade to look at is your armor, and I would recommend maxing this out as much as possible. This will resist damage during crashes, thus limiting the adverse handling effects that come with them. Contrary to popular belief, armor does not add weight since cars in GTA 5 always have a constant mass value, so there's really no downside to equipping it. The next upgrade to look at is your brakes. Now, prior brake upgrades are actually completely overridden by the drift tuning upgrade, so upgrading them before you equip it will be a total waste of money. The braking performance with stock brakes and with upgraded brakes before the drift tuning is applied is the exact same, so save your money and just don't bother with them. Next up, we've got bumpers and really every other aesthetic modification. This includes the visual engine upgrades, strut bars, exhausts, fenders, grills, hoods, liveries, neons, mirrors, roll cages, and pretty much any interior stuff, roofs, skirts, spoilers, sun strips, and window tints. That was a lot. Now, while some of this is pretty self-explanatory for most of you, there is a belief that some of these aesthetic upgrades will shift your car's center of mass depending on where you apply the visual upgrade. So for example, if you put a spoiler on, it'll shift the center of mass towards the rear. That's the common belief, and people have been working with that for a while in the racing community. However, testing different combinations of these upgrades after the drift tuning was equipped really yielded no noticeable difference. Because drifting is inherently very inconsistent to begin with, any small nuances or any small performance differences will be mostly negated when you equip that drift tuning upgrade. This is also the case for spoilers as well. While normally they will affect a car's traction, they actually have no change in handling after the drift tuning is applied. Basically, the brass tacks of this is that you can go nuts on the visual upgrades for your drift build and personalize your car how you want. So with all those mods out of the way, the next upgrade to take a look at is the engine, which I'm going to combine with the other main power upgrades, the transmission and the turbo. Now, after testing out different combinations of these upgrades before applying drift tuning, I found out that Rockstar actually lied to us. Seems pretty on brand, but although they say the drift tuning will override any previous power upgrades, they actually don't. They're simply added on top. Combining the engine, transmission, and turbo upgrades before applying the drift tuning will actually make your car significantly faster than it would be if you only applied the drift tuning upgrade to start. This is most noticeable in a straight line drag race, where the pre-upgraded car was consistently 3 seconds faster than the one that wasn't upgraded before the drift tuning was applied. So what this means is that you should be maxing out the engine, transmission, and turbo before equipping the drift tuning upgrade, because the car will actually be a lot faster and feel a lot easier to slide after it's applied. This could be a bug or a quality control issue on Rockstar's part, which again seems pretty on brand. I'm really not sure though, but what's shown in the game at least is very misleading. The next upgrade to take a look at is your suspension, which can be upgraded either before or after the drift tuning is applied. It really doesn't matter. Regardless of when you do it though, I would recommend lowering your suspension as much as possible. When the drift tuning upgrade is applied, the suspension of your car gets very soft and spongy, and lowering the suspension helps a lot in limiting overall travel. While it seems the actual stiffness of the suspension isn't directly changed by lowering your car, you can reduce its travel and thereby limit body roll by lowering it as much as you can. This will ultimately help steering feel a lot more responsive. Now, the traction benefits of lowering the suspension on cars that came with the LS Tuners DLC is also completely negated when the drift tuning is applied, so no need to worry about that. And as a quick final point here, upgrading the suspension makes all of these cars just look way better by fixing the wheel fitment, at least for the most part. The last few upgrades that we're going to talk about are in the wheels section. First of all, we're going to take a look at wheel type. This is a pretty hot topic now, and it really always has been when it comes to GTA 5 drifting, but to be honest, I really don't notice much of a difference between each wheel and respective tire type. While I would stay away from equipping off-road tires because they are known to provide weird traction increases over bumpy surfaces, I'd say you have free reign to choose pretty much whatever set of wheels you want. The slight nuances that might exist between different wheel types are almost completely negated by the drift tuning upgrade, so personal preference is really all that matters here. Next up, we're going to take a look at the tires category, and first we've got tire design. This is purely an aesthetic upgrade and doesn't affect tire grip at all, so go with whatever design you'd like. Next up, we've got tire enhancements, and here you have the option to apply low grip tires. However, the effects of low grip tires are completely negated by the addition of the drift tuning. I didn't notice any overall grip differences on the front or rear tires when equipping them or leaving them off before I applied the drift tuning upgrade, so you really don't have to bother with those. It's not going to make a difference. While you're at it though, in the tire enhancement section, I would equip bulletproof tires. They have no effect on performance or grip. They just add that standard bullet resistance, which might be helpful if you're drifting in a public lobby, so just throw them on if you want to. And finally, in the wheels section, we've got tire smoke. This is another upgrade that a lot of people believe affect a car's driftability when it doesn't at all. Again, any very slight differences that might be caused by choosing a certain tire smoke are completely negated by the addition of the drift tuning upgrade. So again, just kind of go with your personal preference here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. After you've picked out all of your preferred visual modifications and you've applied the performance upgrades that I recommended, you can then finally go and equip the drift tuning upgrade, and finally your build is fully complete and ready to rip. Now really quickly, I want to make a couple final notes here. First off is that the effects of the lowered stance on the LS Tuners DLC vehicles that now have the option for the drift tuning upgrade are completely reverted after the upgrade is applied, so it doesn't matter whether or not there is stance beforehand. Additionally, the Declasse Drift Tampa, which could normally be stanced manually with a weapon, can no longer be stanced after the drift tuning upgrade is applied, so you can't try to stance it after the fact. It won't do anything, or you'll just pop your tires. So that is a wrap on my updated guide for how to build a drift car with the new drift tuning upgrade. I tried to go into as much depth as was necessary for each modification that you should consider before applying the upgrade itself, so hopefully I helped clarify a few things that were probably pretty confusing initially. As always, let me know your thoughts on this new drift tuning upgrade and the builds that you've been working on and using for drifting down in the comments. Stay tuned for loads more GTA 5 drifting content coming very soon. Thank you all so much for your continued support on the channel. We've really been blowing up recently, and I have you guys to thank for that. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.